Good afternoon.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, no, do not smell me.
You get the bite and fall. Oh, I love it.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about another devastating round of polling from the mainstream liberal media that is sending Democrats and the mainstream liberal media into an absolute shock, panic, and cope cycle, as the polls are showing that the attack against President Trump, the political persecution of President Trump, is not hurting him at all, is actually helping him. And as time moves on, as we get closer and closer and closer to the 2024 election, Trump has now taken a commanding and dominating lead over Joe Biden. In fact, this New York Times poll, which is one of a pair of polls I want to talk about today, shows Biden dominating Trump in 5 out of 6 swing states. 5 out of 6 swing states. In Nevada, he's up 10. Georgia, he's up 6. Arizona, he's up 5. Michigan, up 5. Pennsylvania, up 4. Only behind in Wisconsin by 2. Again, if the election was held today, based off the polling averages from swing states, Trump would win in the Electoral College 301 to 235. Okay, so again, if the election was held today, Trump would dominate President Sackchinian, right? Trump will be reelected, okay? He's winning the popular vote, and he's also winning in the Electoral College. Again, we've never seen anything like this, okay? And, of course, we got to talk about some of the underlying reasons of why, okay? And some of the reasons why is because Americans actually see their finances being better under Trump, right? They feel like they'd be financially better off, and they also feel like that we have less of a chance of going to war under Trump. And then we're going to talk about it, because if you are one of these Americans that rightfully and justifiably is very concerned about the possibility of war or global instability and having financial uncertainty in the future, then you may want to consider gold. Chances are you've been here before. The chaos in the markets, oil, stocks, just when you thought it was safe and interest rates were rising, new threats are coming out of nowhere. Tensions are boiling from Asia to Europe, and adaptation is the key to securing your wealth. You may not have considered gold before. It's not speculation, but insurance. And right now, you need some insurance. Noble Gold Investments has been protecting investors from disaster for years with precious metals. So if you're worried, it might be time to take a fresh look at gold and silver. Gold is a proven shield for your portfolio and a volatility balance against uncertainty. If it helps, Noble Gold Investments is offering a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with its new IRAs this month. If you open your Noble Gold Investments IRA or roll over your 401k, you can claim your coin today. Remember, crisis brews, portfolios waver, and gold insulates. Secure yourself against threats today. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com, the only gold company I trust. And just remember, there's a risk with every investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind.
Today marks exactly 1 year from the 2024 presidential election and what could end up being a rematch between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Our new CBS News poll shows Biden continues to trail Donald Trump in that possible head-to-head. He is now down 3 points. For more on why, we go to Anthony Salvanto. Good morning to you, Anthony.
Good morning, Margaret. To understand those numbers, we wanted to look at views about both today and the future. So first, the number of Americans who think that things are going badly in the country today has hit its high for the year. So you might expect any incumbent to be down as Biden is. But then look at these positive views of what people think will happen for them financially if Donald Trump wins. Way more voters think they'd be better off. And Biden, for his part, hasn't fully convinced as many Democrats that he'd help them as the middle class still reels from inflation. Then let's look overseas. There's more voters, we find, who think that it's Trump that would keep the U.S. out of a war if he wins. And that's driven by a lot of Republican unity on that idea. Let's look at Israel in particular. Americans sympathize with the Israeli people. Most Democrats think that Biden would show the right amount of support, but Democrats are more divided over military aid to Israel specifically. Margaret?
Anthony, thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Clearly this is not good, right? This is not good for President Saakashvili, as people trust Trump more when it comes to the economy and foreign policy, probably on the border as well too, on crime, on all major issues. Trump is dominating. And of course, the mainstream liberal media, outlets like CNN and MSNBC, along with Democrats as well too on these platforms, are having a full-blown meltdown, panic, and cope session over these polls, clearly showing that their guy, Saakashvili, is basically on a one-way trip to getting blown out in the 2024 election. Take a look.
This is probably going to lead to a lot of Democrats increasing the chatter that Joe Biden should step aside and make room for another Democrat.
And I think the problem that Democrats have is they don't know who that Democrat would be right now. I don't think that people look at Kamala Harris and feel like she is ready to take that step forward. They look across the rest of the party, governors, senators, mayors, House members, and they're struggling to figure out who they could put up if it's not Joe Biden. And so I think the reality is Democrats are probably going to run Joe Biden.
I will tell you, this is the first time, Jen, that I have felt like the 2024 election is in great trouble for the president and for our Democratic control, which is essential to moving forward.
Before I let you both go, Senator Blumenthal, I have to ask about some new polling that is a big warning sign for your fellow Democrat in the White House. The New York Times and Siena College, it shows that Donald Trump is leading in Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan, tight races in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. How worried are you about the president's reelection campaign?
I was concerned before these polls, and I'm concerned now. These presidential races over the last couple of terms have been very tight. No one is going to have a runaway election here. It's going to take a lot of hard work, concentration, resources. And so we have our work cut out for us.
Are we operating in two worlds where there's sort of Donald Trump and what he's doing and Congress and what they're doing? Or are the two going to come together at some point and show voters what this complete dysfunction of the Republican Party looks like right now? Donald Trump and his legal travails and Congress and its, I don't know, every kind of travails.
I think that will happen, Ali. And one of the things that I think is clear here is that most voters have paid no or little attention to Donald Trump's legal problems. That will change when we get criminal trials, and especially if and when we get convictions. And at the same time, while lots will happen and change over the course of the next year, when we get down to two choices and we have one presidential candidate who is for a complete Muslim ban, who has supported and lunched with Nazis or neo-Nazis, and who has criminal convictions, and we have issues like the post-Dobbs world and abortion, as you were just discussing with David Pepper, that will reemerge when we see clear choices. I think we'll find a different dynamic. But that's not to sugarcoat a series of polls that show that for reasons that we will have to explore for many years, a president who's had astonishing success in many areas, including the economy, been as masterful as possible in foreign policy, even as the world is falling apart, has such low standing with the public. And that includes on empathy and on personal likability, which is really his greatest strength.
Yeah, so you see now you heard that, okay? Again, talk about delusion, being out of touch with reality. Just panic, cope, right? These are all the terms I will use to describe the reaction that I'm seeing in the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats. I mean, you can tell these people are visibly shocked. They're visibly upset that there's a good chance that Trump will take back the White House in 2024, right? I mean, these people, especially the white liberals, right? They are the most upset and shocked, right? Like Dana Bass. I mean, she was struggling to even say, right, that Trump was destroying Biden in these polls, right? You can tell, right, the misery and pain and agony that they're in, just acknowledging the truth in reality. But again, I'm not surprised. This is the same party, same group of people who can't define what a woman is. So again, it's not like, you know, they really care about reality too much, okay? But with that being said, none of these takes actually beats this take right here from this Democrat who's getting a whole lot of attention because she had a big mouth in Congress doing the Biden impeachment inquiry. She's a black Democrat who, in response to Dana Bash pointing out a really shocking fact, which is that in swing states, the more diverse the state is, aka the less white the state is, the worse Joe Biden was doing. And the whiter the state, the better Joe Biden was doing. And her conclusion, the black Democrats' conclusion from that was that, well, black people or so-called people of color, non-white people, they're just voting with their emotions. Take a look.
Congresswoman Crockett, Karen just talked about a warning sign, well, warning signs across the board, but particularly when it comes to people of color. The New York Times, and they're right about it, says, in a remarkable sign of a gradual racial realignment between the two parties, the more diverse the swing state, the farther Mr. Biden was behind. And he led only in the whitest of 6.
Yeah, no, it's really scary for me. I'm glad that Karen, the expert, is not as scared because here's the deal. Perception is reality. And so when you look at the data that was provided in this poll, it talks about how people feel. And when people decide whether they're going to the poll or whether they're not going to the poll, it's all about how you feel in that moment. And so while the facts may not align with their feelings are dictating their reality. Their reality is that they said that they feel better or they felt better when Trump was in office. But we've been trying to push back. We've got some very popular African-American artists that are out here saying things like, oh, I got checks when Trump was in office. I want those checks again, not understanding that that really came from Congress. So we've got a couple of things, the perception issue, and then we also have an issue as it relates to civics in this country and people not understanding exactly how any of this works. People have to recognize that the world has changed. And that's the part that no one really is factoring in, is that we did not have a pandemic known as the coronavirus that existed when Trump first wore in. So yes, absolutely, gas prices were in a better situation, but also people understanding that bad policy takes a little while to go into effect. And honestly, that's what we're seeing. It wasn't better for the American people that the rich folk got the tax breaks. It would have been a lot better if those that are struggling every day got them, or the child tax credit that is going away, or the fact that people are upset with the president right now as it relates to Israel. But when you look at the package that was passed by MAGA Mike, that was pushed out by the Republicans, what did that package do? It defunded American workers, saying we're going to take money back from the IRS. And it also made sure that Israel got money and there was nothing for the Palestinians.
Wow. So you see now, you heard that. Okay. This is what a black Democrat congresswoman went on national TV and said. She basically said, yeah, black voters are ignorant, right? You don't know how anything works and you're voting with your emotions. Now, here's the thing. I think she's half right about that in the sense that, yes, I do think so-called people of color vote with their emotions. I mean, that is the only possibility when a whole group of people based off of race vote for one party at a 90% clip. No other race of people does that, right? That does say something about their voting habits and whether or not you're voting based off facts and reality. But in regards to what's happening with so-called people of color voting more Republican and more for Trump over Biden in a situation where we have record high inflation, we're being driven into World War III, we have open borders, crime is out of control, Democrat policy has failed across the board. No, they're actually not voting with their emotions for once. They're actually voting based off the facts and reality of their situation, of the economic situation. Again, ever since Biden has taken office, the average household has had to pay $700 more per month just to live, okay, in the Biden economy. Inflation is the highest that we've seen in 20, 30 years. Mortgage rates are so high, they're skyrocketing. We cannot afford homes. Like, people cannot afford to buy homes. They can't afford rent, okay? They can't afford food, okay? These are things that everybody's struggling with in the Biden economy. But yet, this woman is trying to tell people that, hey, your perception doesn't match the facts, right? The reality, okay? Your perception, okay? So they're trying to tell you that your struggle is not real, right? The struggle that everybody's feeling in the Biden economy is not real. It's made up, right? And then that's why they don't want to vote for Biden. Biden's done a great job. It's amazing stuff. It really is. I cannot believe how these Democrats continue to come out here and pretend that Biden has been a great president. Right? I just don't understand it. Actually, no, I do understand it because we know what happens when you criticize their Lord and Savior, Sackchinian, right? Look what happened to Eric Adams. His top campaign fundraiser got her house raided because he criticized and told the truth about Joe Biden when it comes to the border crisis, right? That's what happened. So again, I understand why Democrats come out here and lie to their constituents' face, but it's getting to the point now where it's offensive. Like, it is offensive for you to tell people that the economy is great when, objectively speaking, it's not, right? It's just not. Okay, everything has become so much more unaffordable and people are struggling out here, but yet you're trying to tell people that, again, that's not real, right? Your struggle is not real, okay? It's truly fascinating stuff. It really is, okay? But with that being said, here's what I think moving forward. Like I told you guys, I think personally that 2024 is going to be a blowout, right? If things continue the way that it's going. Now, again, that's not guaranteed. I think there's a couple factors here that we should consider. If Trump gets convicted in one of these political witch hunts, it'll be interesting to see if this gives him another boost, because up until this point, the indictments have given him a boost, right? There's no doubt that the indictments are actually probably the number one thing that is fueling Trump beating Biden right now is the political persecution, the obvious political persecution, along with the state of the country and the state of the world. Those two things together are probably what is fueling what is going on the most, right, in regards to the polls. But it'll be interesting to see if there's a change if Trump is actually convicted. I personally think if Trump is convicted, it may backfire even more. Trump poll numbers may go up even more, okay? I'm just saying. There's a possibility. Everybody's just assuming that Trump's poll numbers are going to go down or that things are going to change if he's convicted. I'm not so sure if I would bet on that. The second thing is that, again, the Roe v. Wade thing still scares me, right? I do think that is probably the number one threat, which is this abortion issue, okay, which, in my opinion, determined the outcome of the 2022 election. So I am worried about that. But third of all, what I want to say is this. I think that all the people that said that Trump should not be the GOP primary nominee because he's the most unelectable, they're all eating crow right now, right? And they should probably be never listened to again, okay? Because they were so wrong on this, right? So wrong, okay? At least as of right now. These people literally said, no, don't vote for Trump. Don't vote for what we know is good. Don't vote for that because he can't win. When the candidates that they were telling us to vote for, right? Like, for example, DeSantis, who I like, by the way. I like DeSantis. But the main argument they were making for DeSantis is that, well, you know, he's more electable than Trump. He's not dominating Biden in any polls like Trump is dominating Biden. Not even close, okay? But yet these people are still coming out here trying to convince people, don't vote for Trump because he can't beat Biden. He can't win, right? Again, it's amazing. Trump is not only just dominating Biden, but he's dominating Kamala and he's dominating the rest of the Republican Party. Trump is basically dominating the whole political landscape right now, right? You put anybody up against Trump, they're losing right now, right? It's insane. It really is. But it goes to show you guys, when you have a track record of success, okay, when you understand how great the country was under, you know, this guy, people recognize that it's night and day when he's out of office. People recognize they've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, and run amok, lied to when it comes to how Trump is the problem. Now that Trump's out of office, everybody wants the man back, right? Everybody wants him back ASAP. Doesn't matter what the issue is. Trump is dominating. It's truly amazing stuff. But again, we cannot get satisfied with this. We have to continue to push and push and push and to get Trump over the finish line in 2024. And then at that point, you know, I cannot wait to see these people absolutely lose their minds. It will be the most epic meltdown of the century. So let me know what you guys say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.